My name is Ken Rickard. I'm a solution architect and agile coach here at CCG. Actually, Norm and I started on the same day back in January of last year. So we've been hanging out quite a bit over the past year. Just some background on myself. I've been doing business intelligence across multiple roles, across multiple companies for about 17 years. And for the past 8 years, I've been doing that work across Scrum and Agile specifically. So I basically take BI development, marry it up with efficient processes, and put great people into those positions in order to be efficient and create great products with great people, and so on. That's pretty much what I do. You're probably not going to be able to see my blog and my LinkedIn stuff down here at the bottom because it kind of hides, but I do blog quite often. Just my full name, kennethrickard.com. You can go and check some of that stuff out. Most of the stuff I blog about on a regular basis is Agile related in some way, shape, or form, maybe even specifically towards Scrum. But there also is some BI stuff out there, especially on the LinkedIn side. I started to do more and more on LinkedIn. All right, so we're going to be talking about how do we get to an efficient place with a tool set that generally has bottlenecks in it. All right, specifically Framework Manager. All right. So we look at this stack of technology we've got here. This is our typical stack of technology when we're talking about business intelligence delivery. All right, starting out at the bottom, you got the enterprise information management type parts, right? So you got all of your data modeling, which would start from the physical model down logical model, conceptual model, which would start out first, right? ETL above that. We're not going to be talking about any of this stuff today. This presentation is really a slice of a larger conversation talking about how to make business intelligence teams efficient in their development efforts. Okay? We only have 30 minutes today, and I'm the only one up here talking. My two friends are missing who would be talking about data modeling and ETL. All right, so we're not going to be talking about those two things today. We will, however, be focusing specifically on the semantic layer piece. So this could apply to any BI tool that's out there as long as you have the tools in place to be able to make your teams efficient in these ways. It'll work against Cognos and Framework Manager. It'll work against SAP and Universe Designer. It'll work against any tool that's got a semantic layer that's out there. Again, as long as you have the parts and pieces that you can do it. We'll specifically focus on Cognos, obviously, tonight, and a tool called MotioCI, if you're not familiar with that. It's a tool that actually integrates into Cognos so that you can do version control and things like that. We'll talk more about it later. All right. So this is a very interesting slide, right? I mean, if you don't already know what Framework Manager is, it's essentially the tool that allows you to take the data out of the database that you're trying to report against, make it presentation ready so that you can actually put it into a business intelligence tool so that people can do reporting off it, whether that's self-service or whether that's canned reporting. Regardless, it doesn't matter. Okay. You're going to be getting data from data sources, whether that is from applications that are out there that exist, or whether that's gone through a process of putting it into, putting that data into such a way that it's already prepared for reporting. Regardless, you're going to be getting that data from somewhere outside of Cognos, right? That has to go through Framework Manager. You saw it tonight. There's a little bit of functionality that's being added into Cognos Analytics on a regular basis now. It's enabling the business to go in and do their own semantic layer type capabilities. It is by no means a method to replace the normal IT delivered semantic layers that exist in all these tools. So if you're a data modeler, your job's not going away anytime soon. All right. In the end, as you work with Framework Manager, ultimately you're enabling people to go and make dashboards and reports. Now, there's one problem with this picture. Does anybody see it? There's a massive bottleneck right here. The idea that Framework Manager, anything that happens on the data side, in order to get it into a usable format that people can use and gather insights and analytics off of, has to go through that semantic layer. Typically, you're dealing with a single model, maybe multiple models, but in the end, most of the time you have one developer per model that can be working on it at any given time. Anybody familiar with that scenario? All right, one guy. Thank you. Appreciate it. I didn't want to be the only one raising my hand. Okay? It's my presentation. I should be familiar with this stuff. Okay. So don't be about it. Hashtag. I even put a hashtag out there. Hashtag. Wait, how does Jimmy Fallon do it? Hashtag. Okay, all right. So how do we stay organized when we're doing this? If you have two people in the same model working on it, that generally sounds chaotic, right? Not an easy thing to do on the surface. So there's really there's this idea that if you structure your model in such a way that it actually organizes it to where people could get into two parts of the model and do work and not step on each other's toes, it makes it easier, or it makes it possible to be able to have more than one modeler in your model at any given time. So there's this idea of business concepts. Okay, any of you guys that are familiar with star schemas, you may recognize this, right? Okay, so what we've got here is we've got all the black circles in the middle are your fact tables. Okay, a centralized fact table, a single fact table with dimensions going around it. Now, this is based on CPG data. Doesn't really matter much, but new item business concept is really just data that would be about the new items that are being put into grocery stores. Okay, voids are about the data about those items when they're not available on the shelf. These are two business concepts. The way business concepts work is when you model them into Framework Manager, you model them in such a way where the dimensions are potentially shared across business concepts, but the facts are always unique. Okay, so you'll see calendar exists on both, sales rep exists on both, channel exists on both, store exists on both, but product and category down here at the bottom. I should have put these at the top. I forgot how this projector cuts things off at the bottom where you're sitting. But category here, product over there, unique dimensions for each one of these two business concepts. They're not shared across those two spaces. It's important to note, well, I'll do a demo here. I don't have very many slides. I only think of maybe one more. Each business concept needs to be in its own namespace inside of Framework Manager, if you're familiar with that nomenclature. Okay? So what it breaks down to is you need a way to isolate the ability for somebody to get in and make changes at the same time. So how do we do that? Well, we use namespaces to separate your model out across the various layers that are in there, where you're keeping those namespaces consistent as you're going down through your layers into the presentation, ultimately into a package. It helps to actually keep things organized. You need to be able to have some type of tool to be able to manage the check-in, check-out process on that. So that's where we'll talk about MotioCI. And if you can go even further than that, and you can actually do application lifecycle management, right, ALM, which consists of source control using something like MotioCI or TFS, as well as automated testing. If you're familiar with MotioCI, you know it does automated testing as well, stress testing also. And release management, which can be done with either TFS or Jira, and then also using MotioCI to do your check-in, check-out, and associate that with a release, and then ultimately push that release onto upstream environments. Okay, so now we'll demo. Okay, so what you're looking at here is MotioCI. This is our own CCG instance of MotioCI. So what this tool will do is it will specifically integrate with your Cognos environments, and you can actually go and tell it to version your entire content store on a recurring basis or on a one-off manual process where you can actually go and execute it to run and go and back everything up, essentially creating a version of it in a repository for this particular piece of software. On the left-hand side over there, you'll see we've got a couple different projects going. We've got an older 11.0.4, which we're no longer really using. We've installed 11.05 here. The 11.05 is the Cognos prod. You see there, we just didn't put the version on it. And then within there, each one of those light bulbs is a project, and we're going to be using the CCG prod project there. So what I do is, if I expand this, I've already gone in and put my demo model inside of the shared folders area. Now, Cognos can back up lots of things and use it as source control. I'm going to only specifically talk about the Framework Manager model files and how to use this as source control, check-in, check-out type process, also how you can use branch and merge inside of Framework Manager in order to tie those changes into a process by which you could have two modelers in there working on the model at the same time. Okay? So I generally call these files that are in the tool the master copy of that model. Okay, and that's the way we generally refer to it around the development team so that we can keep everything straight. So what happens is if you have two workers and they each have their own individual tasks that they need to be working on to change this model, they would both come in here and get a local copy of this, just like if you're familiar with TFS or any other tool that's out there that does source control. Okay? So the way that works is I do right click, I do update local. This is a Java application, so it's really tiny, so sorry, but basically that just says that the local copy was updated to my machine in the path that I've already set up. And so I just click OK. Now over here on this side, if I come to that same path, see MotioCI files, here's the CCG Cognos prod, CCG prod. This is the path, you'll see the folder, it's there. That's what I just updated. Now, if I go in one more level deeper, you'll notice these files. If you work in Framework Manager a lot, or even some, you'll recognize these files. The CPF file is the executable for Framework Manager, so I'm just going to double click on that and open this up. So let's say right now I'm behaving as the first developer. So I'm just going to log in here. Whoops, I'd be able to type my password right. Oh, come on, are you kidding me? Yeah. You can see that way back there? It's like really tiny. So there's one thing to notice here. Again, if you work in Framework Manager on a regular basis, it may be hard to see on the screen here, but this text right here is actually gray. And it's gray because it's in a read-only mode right now. Okay, so normally when you come in here, it would be black text and you'd be able to go in and edit it and so on. But because I have not checked this out, it does not enable me to make changes right now. And the only reason I'm in the master right now is so that I can actually take a branch of this particular model. So the way that works is I would just come up here to project, go right here to branch 2, and what I would do is I would replace this master part, and let's just call it, let's say that this person's going to be working on new item. So I give this copy that I'm about to make a new name, and I'll tell it to actually place it on my desktop. Click OK. So it's saved that off now on my desktop. And developer 2 would do the exact same thing. So they would open this master model, they would come in here and they would make a branch in the same way that the first developer did. So I'll just do it one more time. And this would be for voids. Okay, now that's done. Let's go back. So you can see here's those two files, new item and voids. And what I'll do now is I'll open up those. You'll notice that what that branch 2 does is it actually removes all the log files and the session files for that Framework Manager model. So it only makes a copy of the bare bones of the model, just the model XML and the CPF file, and the preferences XML and the custom data XML. That's it. So from here, if I double click this and open it, and then I'm just going to minimize this. Whoops, let's do this first. And type it correctly this time. Okay, so there's one. Notice it's black this time, much darker. And let's do the second one. Okay, so we're on voids. We'll start with that one. So think of it this way. The first person may have a longer task, right? Their task may take them multiple days to get something done. Now, if we're talking Agile Scrum, you really wouldn't want to be working on tasks that are taking you more than a day necessarily. That's the whole point of doing it, right? So, but let's just pretend. Let's say that this developer, the one that's working on voids, was working on something over the course of a couple days. But the second developer, the one that's working on new item, has just a quick change to make, and then they're done. So in this case, if I'm on voids, what I want to do is I want to come in here. I'm going to open the model layers up. The first thing you may notice is that the concept, the business concepts, I've actually carried forward. So in my first layer, my database view up here, just straight tables in with the relationships between those tables. That's it. I can even show you that real quick. How are we doing on time? All right. So here we go. We've got two star schemas, right, in the same area because I haven't separated them or done anything yet. But you should notice that here's one fact table. Here's the second fact table. Here's the independent dimension that only works with those two fact tables, right, respectively. And then here are the dimensions that are being shared. Right? So from this point, what I do in order to carry those two business concepts forward is I make namespaces in the second layer, one for new item, put a BC on the end because the namespaces names have to be unique inside the entire model. So new item BC, voids BC. If I expand those two, you'll see that I've taken it down a level from the top. So from the database view, I've made new model query subjects down into the second layer. You notice voids is actually missing some things. Hopefully you can see that back there. Right? It only contains its fact table and its one unique dimension category. So in this case, what I want to do is, those are shared dimensions, the other ones, channel, store, sales rep, and calendar. So in this case, what I'll do is I'll just do a shift click and a control C on my keyboard. And then I could either go up here and do edit and then paste, or I could just do control V on the keyboard. And I've now taken those model query subjects from the second layer inside new items business concept and copied them down to voids. That was one change I needed to make. And then I would need to come in here, and this could be a little time consuming, so I won't make them all, but I may come in here, and the next thing I want to do is create a shortcut. And we want to put that actually down here in the third layer, and then maybe I want to rename it, get rid of this, right? I don't want it to say shortcut too. Just want it to say channel. And then the last thing I want to do for right now is I want to make the package on that. So I'll come in here and make my package. And we're going to call it voids. And we're going to do it this way because we don't want to show all those namespaces. Okay, so we close it from the top and then open it at the bottom. And then that's fine, that's fine, that's fine. So, and no, I don't want to publish it right now. Okay, so there's the changes I made. Now, where that's all stored is that every action that you make inside a framework manager is kept inside of a transaction history. Load. Let's go. Okay, you know, gotta save it first. Okay, so here we go. So right here are my changes. You can see here, 3.2, K Rickard. Line by line, here's every change that I just made. And so with that, now that it's saved, I can make a script out of that. Actually, I should have done it while I was in there, sorry. So what I want to do is I want to just do it from the top level. You save script, and I can save that anywhere. I'll just save it to my desktop. Now at the same time, I've got my other model open over here for new item. Same exact model, does not contain the changes that I just made. All right, so you can see here there's no channel here, there's nothing down here in voids, the voids package is not here. I can do pretty much anything here. Let's say I didn't, for whatever reason, want store down here. Let's delete it. Say okay, that's fine. And maybe even channel. I don't want channel either. Let's delete it. And save it. And go to the transaction history. You're going to see that. Whoops, I was clicking the bottom one. It's never the bottom one. It's always the top one. So you can see there, the two deletes I just made. And I'll do the same thing there from the top. Save, and I'm going to call this new item. Oh, where did I save that? Let's go back. Yeah, that's not where I wanted it. Let's do it over. Okay, So right here, these are my two. So what it does is those log files, it writes them out to XML. And from there, all I need to do is the local copies I've taken where I've made my changes I really don't need. If I didn't need to continue developing on that track, that same task, I could really throw them away. Every change that I made is now written into that XML file, which now can be applied back to the master. So the way this works is, not Chrome, sorry. So from here, what I'll do is I will right-click this time and do a checkout because I'm ready to merge these things back into the master. And from there, all I need to do, I'll close these two windows out. And let's just go here and do a refresh. And then open the master up. This time when it opens, you should see that it's actually, the text is black because it should be in write mode. There you go. And so now all I need to do is go and run those two scripts against this model. So first I'm going to do voids. And really all it's doing, whoops, let's move this so you can see. Really all it's doing is it's playing those actions back against the model. And then I can, it says, okay, completed, that's it, accept, done. You should see I've got a voids package now. You should see that in the voids BC, I've got those query subjects now. So those changes were applied. Now, typically what would happen here is developer 1 would save the master model and check it back in. And then developer 2 could then come along and check out the master again, apply his changes, and then check it back in. Right? But I'm not going to go through that process. It takes too much time for the time we have left. So the last thing I'll do here is, since I already have this open, I'll go ahead and run the script for the other one as well. Oops, it was already there. Here's my two deletes. Go ahead and do the run. And then accept it. And we should see here, yep, see those shortcuts were removed. Now, of course, then I would publish it off. And here I would do a save. Save that master model. Close out Framework Manager. Close out of that. Go back into MotioCI. Do a check-in. Say whatever, blah, 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 right? And then go ahead and click that button. And now it's checked it back in. You can even go as far as if you do a checkout at the root, so at the shared files level. If I wanted to also back up my XML scripts, so for instance, let's say I take these, I go back into that same path. So it's also got my backups in there, that's fine. I don't necessarily need those because it's being versioned. Okay, so from here, if I make a new folder and I could just call it something like XML scripts, right? Or we could even call it by release. Release 1 XML scripts. All right, paste those into there. Close that out. Now I can even back up my XML scripts as well. So you see, this is locked. The whole thing is checked out to me. I'm going to do a check-in. Okay, now you'll see everything that I just did from two developers who could have been working at the exact same time on the exact same model, were working in their own little private space, making changes independently. As long as they stayed within inside their own business concepts, they could then take those changes and put them back into the master, check it back into MotioCI. You can also do this exact same thing with TFS, right? There's not a lot of difference. TFS doesn't have the tight integration with Cognos that MotioCI does. MotioCI is built on the Cognos SDK. So its integration is not only for your Framework Manager packages, but everything that's in your environment, including your reports and your dashboards and your user settings and everything that's in your My Content folder, and all that stuff is backed up in MotioCI every single night, or as often as you set the schedule for it to back it up. All right.